This video was created by VinylicPuma of VinylicPumaGaming.
What's going on, guys? This is VinylicPuma, and it's no secret that there are some insanely overpowered skills and characters in both Borderlands 2 and especially in Borderlands the pre-sequel. Today, I'm going to be going over my top 5 best Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the pre-sequel characters ever. So, let's go ahead and get started with number 5. Gage the MECHROMANCER from Borderlands 2. So the big reason I included Gage is because of her Ordered Chaos skill tree, and more specifically because of the combination of her Anarchy and Pre-Shrunk Cyberpunk skills. Because of those two skills, Gage is absolutely ridiculous once you've got a Sham Shield, Norfleet, and a Slayer of Terramorphous class mod, and about 600 stacks of Anarchy or so. While some people may consider this to be fairly cheap, you've got to admit that it's pretty fun to walk around and pretty much just mow down the vast majority of enemies in the game every once in a while. It's also worth mentioning that you can combine your crazy 600 stack Anarchy Shamfleet strategy with Gage's Blood-Soaked Shield skill, which instantly recharges your shield upon killing an enemy. This strategy is surprisingly effective once you've got a really good turtle shield with no movement penalty. And of course, the only problem with Gage is that for the whole optimal strategy to work, you need all of the gear mentioned above, which, I guess could be somewhat difficult to acquire, especially that Norfleet. Number 4. Jack the Doppelganger from Borderlands the pre-sequel. In my opinion, Jack can be best described as a cross between Gage, the MECHROMANCER, and Axton the Commando from Borderlands 2, with pretty much all of both of those characters' strengths and virtually none of their weaknesses. I think the one skill that makes Jack the Doppelganger really powerful is his leadership skill, which activates all of your kill skills once one of your Digidax dies. And it might not be obvious at first, but many of Jack's best skills are kill skills. For example, Synergy, Believe, Winning, and Absolute Advantage are excellent, as Winning instantly restores your shields upon a kill, a portion of your shields. Absolute Advantage helps with ammo consumption by giving you a percentage chance to not consume ammo per shot. And of course, Synergy and Believe help with your character's general DPS. It's also worth mentioning that Jack also has the Money as Power skill, which is a skill similar to Gage's Anarchy from Borderlands 2. And while it's not quite as powerful as Anarchy in Borderlands 2, each stack does provide a 0.25% bonus to your weapon damage up to 99 stacks. So it's possible to receive up to roughly 250% damage bonus with just like 999 stacks of Money as Power, and that's in absence of all the other skills that are available to you. I should also mention that Jack is my favorite character to play in Borderlands the pre-sequel, and I definitely recommend him if you're looking for a good, strong character to play in that game. Number 3. Zero the Assassin from Borderlands 2. Zero is a very versatile character despite the fact that he lacks significant skills that help boost his defenses. Zero makes this list for several reasons, but I'll first talk about his Boar skill, which is probably arguably his best skill out of all of his skills. That's because if the proper conditions are observed, it's possible to kill Hyperius with any Boar-compatible weapon, regardless of its level. You could kill a OP8 Hyperius with a level 1 basic repeater, and that's always fun to see. Now, Boar not only works really well with the Pimpernel sniper rifle, but can also be obtained early on, of course, in Zero's sniper skill tree, which makes it useful, if not essential, regardless of what build you ultimately decide to use for your Zero character. When it comes to sniping, Zero also has his Critical Ascension skill, which can be quite overpowered as it increases the critical hit damage by a specific percentage for each stack. Very much like Anarchy and Money as Power. So if you do have like 2% more critical damage per stack, and you have 50 stacks, you have 100% more critical damage. And of course, Zero is probably the most viable melee character once you get to higher difficulties. While Melee Zero isn't as powerful as it was before the overpowered levels and the Digistruct update, was introduced. Melee Zero is still pretty powerful up against most regular enemies. Most of that just has to do with how melee damage is primarily determined by the level of your character as opposed to just like the level of your weapons. While I think he's difficult to use at first, Zero can be pretty ridiculous towards the end of the game. Number 2. Nisha the Lawbringer from Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Nisha made this list because she is capable of dual-wielding identical pistols thanks to the one for each of you skill. There used to be glitches that allowed you to dual-wield different weapons, like Salvador, but unfortunately that's been patched. What also makes Nisha so good is her Tombstone skill, which is a kill skill that allows for a percentage chance of all hits to score a critical hit. So maybe you fire a shotgun with like 6 projectiles. Each one of those has a 60% chance or so to be a critical hit, regardless of whether you hit an enemy's crit spot or not. And of course, Tombstone works wonders with shotguns and various other multi-projectile weapons, and has great synergy with the Hot Lead skill, which can light enemies on fire while in an atmosphere, provided you're using a gun with non-elemental variant. Nisha also has other great skills like Trick Shot, which gives your bullets a chance to ricochet towards enemies, Bonafide Grit, which improves your crit damage and health regeneration, and Hell's Coming With Me, which gives you a percentage chance to fire an extra projectile. Nisha might just be the most powerful character in Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Number 1. Salvador the Gunzerker from Borderlands 2. Salvador is so powerful because he is absolutely broken. Salvador can dual-wield any 2 weapons in Borderlands 2, like he should. He was designed that way. It's important to mention that whenever Salvador is dual-wielding weapons, though, he can pass certain attributes and characteristics of one weapon onto another. Some examples of this are how the Grog Nozzle heals for all damage dealt. The Lady Fist's crit damage can improve your other weapon's critical hit damage, and it's also possible for certain weapons like the Flacker and Pimpernel to gain a bonus to their damage output when dual-wielded with the Torg, or just any Torg rocket launcher, whether that be a Nukem or Ahab. Salvador is also capable of massive/ludicrous damage output thanks to the Money Shot skill, which has synergy with the Inconceivable skill, which basically allows you to chain multiple shots together without the cost of any ammo. Provided you have a Rough Rider's shield, your shields are always depleted at 0, and as long as you have low health, it's possible to chain several Money Shots together, yielding absolutely broken levels of damage per second, and just damage overall. It's safe to say that Salvador is the most powerful character in Borderlands 2, and might just be the most powerful character in all of Borderlands. Anyway guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up this particular video. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, and as always, take care and I'll see y'all next time.